Everyone. All
There.
right. So, good morning to everyone in Pune. It's 6:30 here in New York. It's cold, dark, wintry outside. I'm not fully awake, so if I do stumble over my words, please forgive me. I am drinking my coffee. It's only the first cup, so let's get started. And before Mohini came, I had thanked both Ginny and yourself for helping me format the flyer for the Pune Book Club. Okay, so moving on with the discussion, the book is to be discussed is The Sense of an Ending by Julian Barnes. And I just wanted to go over a brief skeleton of how I'd like to present it because I'm a newcomer and I'll try to follow the others next time around. So I'll talk about the author, his work, his awards, his personal life. Then I'll go on to the title of the book itself, talk a bit about the characters, a bit about the plot, the themes, and then open up to questions. The questions are more than I think anything else. I'm very keen to get everyone's opinions. All right, so let's talk about the author himself. Julian Barnes is an English writer born in 1946 in Leicester, East Midlands, UK. This book is his 11th novel, released in August of 2011 in the UK, and he was awarded the Man Booker Prize the same year, obviously. He is a prolific writer, has written upwards of 20 novels, three of which were shortlisted for the Booker Prize. They were his breakthrough novels, the first one being Flaubert's Parrot, written in 1984, England, England, 1998, Arthur and George in 2005. His other works include essays, short stories, as well as memoirs. He has also written crime fiction under the pseudonym Dan Cavanaugh. Cavanaugh was the last name of his wife. Now, the rewards he has received are too numerous to list individually. But the most significant among them, he's got it from France, Germany, Austria. So the prominent ones are Prix Femina in 1992. It would be interesting to note that this is a French literary prize awarded by an exclusive female French jury. That's impressive. Then the French one, I'll try to pronounce it correctly, is Commandeur l'Ordre des Arts et des Lettres. And that was received in 2004, the Man Booker in 2011, and the Jerusalem Prize in 2021. His work has been translated into more than 40 languages. His books have reached every corner of the globe, from Japan to Iran to Brazil. Now, when he was asked whether he will continue writing, well, he says he's going to turn 80 in January this year, and he's working on his last novel, Departure. He hopes, rather he wants to stop writing after 80 because he says he has said everything he has wanted to. He currently lives in London. A quick bit about his personal life. He's the son of French teachers. He speaks the language fluently. He says he comes from a very sober English middle-class family. He was painfully shy as a child and was told by age 10 by his mother that he had too much of an imagination. He grew up in the 40s and 50s, graduated from Oxford in 1968, studied modern languages. Apparently, there's no history of anyone writing in his own family. So that's hope for those of you who are budding writers. Barnes is an agnostic. He married Pat Cavanaugh, born in South Africa. She was a literary agent, but died 29 years into their marriage of a brain tumor. And he has he wrote of this brief in an essay in a 2013 book called Levels of Life. And as I mentioned earlier, he occasionally writes under the name Cavanaugh for some of his works. Now, coming to the title of the book, The Sense of an Ending. Just want to mention that a book by this title was previously written by Frank Kermode, which was published in 1967, about 44 years earlier than Barnes' own book. Now, Barnes has claimed his choice of the title was coincidental uh, with that of Kermode's, of whose book he had not previously neither heard nor read. So when a friend of his pointed out that the title was used already, he responded by saying, "There is no copyright in titles." So that was the brief introduction. Now, talking of the main message in Julian Barnes' book, it is about the unreliability of memory, the stories we construct about our past, and the elusive nature of truth, suggesting that history, both personal and otherwise, is shaped by self-delusion, selective memory, and the need to create a coherent, often false narrative to make sense of life and reconcile with loss, ultimately showing how our past versions of ourselves can be completely wrong. Now, the key themes and messages broadly, our memory is fiction. The stories we tell ourselves may not be true. History and self delusion, responsibility and guilt, and I'll finding sense in the end. So I'll go over these themes a little more in detail, but briefly. Memory is fiction. The novel highlights that memory isn't a perfect recording, but a fluid, subjective act of storytelling, constantly reinterpreted and altered by time and new perspectives. The stories we tell ourselves. Protagonist and the narrator, Tony Webster's life story, is self-serving narrative that unravels, revealing how he's redacted his past to avoid guilt or responsibility, a common human tendency. Now, about history and self delusion. Barnes suggests that personal history, like national history, is made up of the lies of the victims, but also the self delusions of the defeated. As Tony discovers, his own version is deeply flawed. Now, coming to responsibility and guilt as a theme, the book explores how past actions, even seemingly minor ones, ripple through time, forcing the characters to confront the consequences of their own roles in tragic events. Now, finding sense in the end, the title refers to finding the meaning, the understanding, the feeling in life's conclusion, often through retrospective storytelling. But Tony's own book is a shocking revelation that his whole life's narrative was a fabrication, particularly regarding his role in Adrian's suicide. In essence, the message is a poignant, complex explanation of how we construct our identities by interpreting our past, often deceiving ourselves until confronted with undeniable truths that rewrite everything. Um, Now, an overview of the story. Um, the story follows Tony Webster, a retired man who is forced to confront his past when he receives a mysterious inheritance. This inheritance is from Sarah Ford, who is his ex-girlfriend Veronica's mother. The inheritance includes a diary from his former friend Adrian and money from Veronica's mother, who he had dated in his youth. The key characters of the novel are Tony Webster, who's the narrator, a retired man who prides himself on his self-honesty but is revealed to be unreliable. Adrian. Adrian is Tony's brilliant and philosophical friend who commits suicide. Veronica, excuse me, my mouth gets very dry. Veronica, Tony's ex-girlfriend, who becomes a significant part of his past and present. Sarah is Veronica's mother, with whom Tony has a brief affair, which is never mentioned in the book. So the major events, as I mentioned earlier, are the inheritance, where Veronica's mother sends him 500 pounds that Veronica calls blood money. Now, people can talk about that later, what that means. Then there's Adrian's the diary entries, which are cryptic. They initially seem to confirm Tony's understanding of their shared history. However, the diary's authenticity and Adrian's true feelings are questioned. Then you see Veronica's immense hostility towards Tony, which confuses him until he uncovers more truth about their past. And finally, the revelation, Tony discovers that his friend Adrian has a child with Veronica's mother, whose name is Sarah, and that Adrian had committed suicide after learning about the pregnancy. So again, the central themes are unreliability of memory. Tony's memory proves to be more imperfect than most, and the reader must assume that Tony's version of events is not to be trusted. And personal histories can be skewed by self-delusion and selective recall. Then again, the central theme is another one is the impact of past actions. The novel explores how past actions and decisions can have long-standing consequences, often in ways that are not immediately apparent. I think Tony does not know that Adrian Jr. is his son, but is completely unable to accept it. Again, this is not mentioned in the book. We can discuss it once the book has been discussed. Then talks about personal identity. Tony's journey forces him to reevaluate his own identity and the story he has created about his life. It calls into question the story you have created about your own life. Then I just wanted to go over the synopsis of the book itself. The novel is divided into two parts, entitled 1 and 2. Both are narrated by Tony Webster when he is retired and living alone. The first part begins in 1960s with four intellectually arrogant school friends, of whom two feature in the remainder of the story. Tony the narrator, and someone is trying to call in. I think it's Shahina. Hello? Hello? Hello?
We can hear you. We can hear you. We can't now.
Hello, sorry, I was interrupted by a call. I'm sorry about that.
Let's go on ahead. Someone is calling up. He can see us, but he can't. We can't see him.
Okay, all right. Mohina Shahina from London is trying to connect, but it doesn't matter if she can't because she's late, I think. So Tony the narrator and Julian, and Adrian, the most precociously intelligent of the four, continue on. The story continues on with them in the first part. Towards the end of their school days, another boy at school hangs himself, apparently after getting a girl pregnant. That is one of the conjectures. It's not confirmed, but the four friends discuss the event. The four friends discuss the philosophical difficulty of knowing exactly what happened. Adrian goes to Cambridge University after school, and Tony goes to Bristol University. Tony acquires a girlfriend, Veronica, at whose family home he spends an awkward weekend. He feels he's been treated badly. He feels that he comes from a lower social strata. Continuing with the first part of the story, on waking one morning, Tony finds that he and Veronica's mother, Sarah, are alone in the house. She apologizes for her family's behavior towards him. Tony's and Veronica's relationship fails with quite some acrimony. as he breaks up with her and has sex with her after breaking up. In his final year at university, Tony receives a letter from Adrian informing him that he is now dating Veronica. Tony replies to the letter, telling Adrian that in his opinion, Veronica was damaged in some way and that he should talk to her mother about it. Some months later, he is told that Adrian has committed suicide, leaving a note addressed to the coroner saying that the free person has a philosophical duty to examine the nature of their life and may then choose to renounce it. Tony admires the reasoning. He briefly recounts the following uneventful 40 years of his life until his 60s. The uneventful, which is not so uneventful, is that he marries a woman called Margaret, has a daughter called Susie, is now divorced, living alone, and seems to be moving on, Now, let's come to the second part of the novel, which is twice as long as the first. It starts with the arrival of a lawyer's letter informing him that Veronica's mother has bequeathed him 500 pounds, which Veronica mysteriously calls blood money, and 2 documents. These lead him to re-establish contact with Veronica, and after a number of meetings with her to re-evaluate the story he has narrated in the first part. On consulting the lawyers, Tony learns that Veronica has Adrian's diary, which she has burned. She claims she has burned it, but that was bequeathed to him. This leads him to send Veronica repeated emails requesting the diary. Veronica eventually sends Tony a single page of the diary containing Adrian's musings on life as a series of cumulative wagers. Following this, Veronica arranges to meet Tony on the Wobbly Bridge, the Millennium Bridge in London, and those who lived in London would relate to this, and gives him the letter he sent to Adrian in his youth. On rereading it, Tony realizes how malicious and unpleasant it was, and how he has erased this from his memory. Nevertheless, he persists in attempting to retrieve the diary from Veronica, which leads to her asking him to meet at a location in North London, where she drives him to see a group of learning disabled men being taken for a walk by their caretaker. Now, Veronica points to one of them. Tony does not understand the significance of this, and Veronica leaves him with no explanation. Over the course of several weeks, Tony revisits the location until he's able to relocate the man Veronica had shown him in the pub. Tony greets the man, saying he's a friend of Veronica's, which leads to an upset response from the young man, who we shall call Adrian Jr. Tony recalls the memory of Adrian from the man's facial features. He emails Veronica an apology, saying he didn't realize that she and Adrian had a son together. Veronica only responds with a reply, "You don't get it, but then you never did." On revisiting the pub where he saw this young man, Tony gets into a conversation with the care worker, who reveals that this young man is actually the son of Veronica's mother, Sarah, making him Veronica's half-brother. And of course, now the reader is left to connect the dots. So the novel ends there, and I will finish, although I haven't gone into details of the novel, hoping that some of you have read it, but I have more questions than answers, and I would love you to answer them. My first question is, what are your thoughts on the blood money? What do you think that's meant by it? And why do you think Sarah, Veronica's mother, sends the money? Anyone?
I think, one second, let's get my video go.
Have you read the book, Mohini, recently?
I have.
Oh, good. So you can tell us, yeah.
I read it. I thought it was like a huge apology. It was like an apology to Tony because Adrian, after all, came to meet her on Tony's advice. And it's, you pay blood money when you have destroyed someone and you feel sorry for what you've done and you give it to his family
Yes.
as a huge apology. And
Right.
that's how I saw it.
Okay. Okay. All right. Do you think Adrian Jr. is Adrian's son or Tony's son?
I think he
Did you
is.
ever think of that idea?
No, my God, you said it now.
Mm,
Oh my gosh.
Eh,
Yeah. Oh,
what?
that
Yeah.
comment, you don't get it, do you? But then you never did. But he certainly never talks of it himself. He doesn't say he had an affair or even a one-night stand with her mother, does he? But then, of course, he's an unreliable narrator.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Sanjay, your thoughts on it?
Unmute, please, Sanjay. Unmute.
Yeah. I mean, I take your point that the ending is kind of ambiguous, but I would imagine that blood money, I mean, in Islamic law, is compensation for wrong done. So probably because Adrian was a good friend of Tony, and because Veronica's mother, Sarah, was responsible for Adrian's death, Adrian's suicide. So she wants to compensate his best friend.
Yes.
I don't know about best friend, but his friend Tony. So that is one version.
I think then you and I agree, Sanjay, don't we? Tony is sort of family to Adrian, and the only
Yeah.
one really that can be compensated as such, right? Anyone else?
Yeah, but Moini, having said that, I have come across reviews where they have said that the ending is ambiguous, and you could argue perhaps that it's Tony who's responsible for Adrian Jr.'s
Father the child.
I don't find it very convincing, frankly, but I've seen some reviews where they have discussed this possibility.
Oh, I see. Gosh.
Right. Yeah.
Azra, we have to come back to you. But I'm just thinking, what about the timeline? I mean, can it be that Tony is the father? Can it be?
You see, like Sanjay, I did read reviews, the Redditors and the Goodreads, and they did say he suppressed so much information. He has been seeing the mother, but he doesn't really want to admit. He's blocked it out. He's redacted it. It's all up to our imagination. I don't know. Nothing has been written. So I think that's partly what makes the book interesting, I think, right? The different interpretations.
I think that's what it's all about.
Yes.
What it is all about.
But Azra, I would argue, Azra, just for the sake of argument, now that you're talking about it, it would be very hard to erase out of my memory an event of such monumental significance. If I have fathered a child through a woman, would I be able to push it out of my memory altogether? I'm not sure.
You mightn't have known that he fathered a child, but that he had an affair with his girlfriend's mother is huge enough. I think is huge.
Yeah, but would I be able to omit that from my memory that I'm having an affair with my girlfriend's mother? Will it not remain in my head? I mean, can I entirely?
Sanjay, maybe it won't remain in your head, but there are a lot of men who would deny that. Don't you think?
No, we would deny it, of course.
They would block it out, And then he probably thought she's an older woman. I mean, this is my imagination. What the heck? How can she get pregnant? But she's only in her 40s. She's attractive. And then they talk this goodbye, the waist hand.
That was
some secret message there. I don't know. It's all up to us, what we decipher from.
No, Azra, I thought that waist level goodbye gesture was probably it was a sign of enormous loneliness. Probably her husband was, Sarah's husband was kind of a pompous chap, and the son also was probably too absorbed with himself, and probably that lady was all alone, and she probably needed a company, shall we say. And, you know,
Definitely. The mother is a separate entity. I mean, quite different from the rest of the
Yes.
family. They
Yeah.
look down on her. And Tony obviously sees that she actually is the only nice person in the family.
right. That's true.
Has anyone else read the book? Or not even read the book, but please comment on this
Please,
possibility.
yeah.
This possibility. Now, you know, Agatha Christie has that book, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, I think, in which he himself is the murderer. And he coolly doesn't tell us that. I thought it was grossly unfair on Agatha Christie's part, you know, to give us a novel like that. I mean, in those days, we didn't expect such games to be played with us. We did not
But
expect.
I don't know. I thought it was brilliant, Mohini. I read
Yeah.
Roger Ackroyd many years ago, and I thought it was outstanding. It was superb. I take your point, it was unfair, but it was impactful, shall we say? You know?
I thought it was unfair. I mean, how can you tell the story? Just miss out this little fact that you killed this person and tell everything else. What the heck? Not fair. No, at that time, I thought not fair. But you see, now writing has become so much more sophisticated, hasn't it? Now, of course, games are being played with the reader all the time. And this is one of them. So, Anna, Kaveri, Monali, Sunita. What say you guys? What say you?
I'm in the worst position, Moini. I read 60% of the book and now I know what the ending is and it's driving me nuts.
I know. I just thought, you know, when Azra just told it, I said, oh my gosh.
No, but it's, you know, I will still finish reading the book because it's very well written and I want to find out the answer since none of you guys know the answer to this. But I will look at it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking that, you know, whether it's Tony's child or not is since all of y'all are asking that question. But Adrian did commit suicide because Sarah is pregnant. So isn't it that it is his child then?
Well, we don't know that he
We
committed
don't
suicide
know.
because she was pregnant.
Ah,
All we know is that that he surprisingly, inexplicably committed suicide.
yeah.
All. I mean, Tony wonders what could have happened. And he's trying to find out. He's just trying to find out. And that's how we find out, of course. Yeah. So then, yes, then Azra, then I'm going to say this, that if you say that Tony is the father of that child, that he did have an intimate encounter with Veronica's mother, which itself seems rather strange. Because, not just because she's older and all that, but because I think he looked upon her as a mother figure. Of course, things could have changed after they, came closer. But then how do you explain Adrian's suicide? Then it becomes utterly reasonless and odd and not incomprehensible at all. So, of course, there are many things in this world that we don't know and we cannot know. And writers like Harold Pinter, for example, are annoying and frustrating in that sense. Aruna, do you have your hand up? Aruna?
Aruna has to.
She had her.
to
I think
unlock-
unknowingly.
Aruna can't speak because she's got to unmute herself.
No, but I don't think she meant. Okay. Mukul, what about you? What do you say? Kaveri, hey, come on. People with opinions, come on.
So, Mohini, I've read even less of the book than Sunita has.
Okay.
But I find the whole concept very interesting. in the way in which we construct a story of our own lives. And we don't like often to think about, we don't like to evaluate whether it has gone well or not. And perhaps, and this may not be related to the story, but this is what came to my mind when I started reading this, that it's uncomfortable if you are then confronted with something which tells you that, the way in which you've lived your life is
not admirable.
Unsatisfactory. I mean, that's a very hard thing to be able to do. So this whole story about the memory, your own perceptions of how your life has gone, about the way in which you think events have unfolded, and you like to live in that same safe, secure kind of perception of how you have lived it. And then something like this happens, which makes you reevaluate it. So it's something very uncomfortable, I thought.
Yes, yes. So I had one quick comment to make. Why does Tony repeatedly go back to the pub to see the man that Veronica had pointed out? He must see some resemblance of himself, but he's in denial. And then Veronica getting upset and saying, "You don't get it. You just don't get it.
And you never did, you moron," kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. So why do you think he repeatedly goes back to see this young so-called Adrian Jr.? Maybe he sees his own resemblance. I don't know. It's a question.
I think he's looking for a resemblance, in fact, to Adrian.
He's
just looking, and he finds it.
And
I
doesn't
think
it say he looks like Adrian? Doesn't the book say that he looks very much like Adrian?
That's according to the narrator. You see.
Okay.
He's
creating that. He's creating that.
Yeah, but why does he keep going back to the boy, knowing that he looks like Adrian Jr.?
Well,
and one of the comments by the readers was, this young man gets very upset when he tries to make contact, because the young man, they say, probably realizes that this is my father and he can't handle it. It's all conjecture.
I think that's stretching it.
I think that's a little far-fetched, Azra. No, I think that.
Yeah.
But I would imagine, if you've seen the movie, the BBC production of the book, there the same actor plays the child and the father.
Gosh.
Adrian,
well,
that's
but you can't go by movies. It's not an exact story that they play in the movie, right?
No, it shows that maybe their interpretation implies that Tony is the father. Then one basic question I ask myself, why would a woman, a married woman, a mother, have the child? I mean, there is such a thing as terminating a pregnancy, for God's sake. Why did she allow the child to be born?
Well, actually, Mohini, in early 60s was a time when the pill had just about come into the market. Maybe
and I don't know. Was abortion legal? Was abortion legal, Sanjay, those days? I don't know in England. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I can't answer that. But I know that the pill came only in the early 60s and was not so readily accessible as it is today.
But I don't suppose that she expected really.
She didn't expect
get
it.
married. I mean, to get pregnant.
But Mohini, do you all think that this is really the central issue in the book? This particular one, the parentage of this boy?
Because if it is Tony's child, then my God, is memory and confession and fact and fiction and projection. He's projecting as if there's a harmless kind of a contact between him and Veronica's mother.
How do you know? How do you know? He redacted so much of his life.
Again, now Azra, now you see, now that you say, how do you know? How do we know? Nothing in the novel or in life. We know nothing. Of course, there's the crux. Modernism, Modernism is when, you remember before modernism, I mean, most of us grew up reading novels in which the narrator was a third person or person who knew everything and who you trusted. Question of not trusting the narrator. Modernism comes along and destabilizes everything.
Okay.
Okay.
Then my next question. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can I just say one thing before I forget? I keep thinking and then forget.
Sure.
What did people think of Veronica? I mean, not. She's odd, isn't she? I mean, she is odd. I don't know why she ever became Tony's girlfriend. It's very half-hearted. And then that Adrian should take up with her. And then Tony is clearly disturbed by this. That, oh, he's dating Veronica. Is it just, but you're my girlfriend? Or is it, oh, but you're a weird character? What? Then, on top of all this, I felt that Veronica had not been developed as a character. I mean, there are all question marks about her. And again, is this deliberate or is it a failure on the author's part?
The little that I read about Veronica Moini, I just seemed like, a fling that you would have in your youth. She does, she's got different tastes, he's got different tastes, yeah, and but it didn't seem like there was something terribly odd. That he was jealous that she eventually left and went with Adrian is, it happens in life all the time.
It does, of course. I mean, he didn't have a girlfriend. This is very experimental, if you know what I mean, with not much emotion involved, But I don't know what at all attracted him. Well, as you said, nothing needed. She's a girl. It's like in Love Story, if you remember. The whole thing begins and he's in the library and he wants to go and have a coffee with someone, not alone. And there are two girls at the counter and he has one of them. And that turns into this huge love. The love story, It's a very casual beginning. Agreed. But I find her definitely odd. And she takes her home to her family, which he thinks is a very positive thing in terms of their relationship. But yeah, she finally does sort of show some kind of fondness, takes him to her room and says she's doing so in front of the family. At that point, I don't think any of us expected Veronica to become the center of the action. As Sunita said, I thought she was a girl, I mean, Tony is not exactly a girl magnet, not at all. So she's just a girl that he dates. And then she doesn't much care for him because he is not so marvelous. After all, this is the age of the anti-hero. Again, modernism. Where are the heroes all gone? Okay. So, but then she becomes the center. I was quite surprised.
Do you think the book is also implicitly commenting on the class stratification in British society, where the narrator is in a different kind of class compared with Adrian and Veronica's mother? And does that also muddy the waters?
I think it's noticed, but I don't think it's big.
Okay.
What are others?
Okay, now I have, sorry, any more comments before I go to my other question? Now this is, sorry, somebody saying something?
Yeah, no, Azra, I'd like your view on this. To me, what came across was that one aspect of the novel is what the author is trying to say is that our actions have consequences, which can be quite serious and of which we may remain unaware.
True. Good point. Yes.
That is one thing that came to my mind. And Tony is the best example. So much has followed. I mean, he met Veronica and he took Veronica to meet his friends. That's how she got to know Adrian. That's how probably Adrian got to know Veronica's mother. So one thing leads to another, and you start at point A and you end up at point XYZ wherever. So that is one aspect,
But don't forget it's something that Tony advised him to do. So Tony's responsibility
No,
is
right. That's precisely the point. Am I responsible for that which I did not intend? Okay.
no, but he is the one who nudged Adrian towards Veronica's mother, not in the way it happened later, possibly, but only that she's the only nice person there. She's the only person who will be decent to you.
Right.
That way. Ginny, you had your hand up, I think. Please unmute.
Well, Azra and I have been talking a lot about this book since it was discussed in our book group, and my mind has wandered to all sorts of incredible scenarios. One question that I have is when he was visiting that weekend, why did the father and the two children take a long walk and purposely leave Tony in the house with the mother?
Yeah.
Was there some dynamic in the family that set things up? I don't know. That's just way off, maybe.
Oh my gosh. I'm being shocked and re-shocked. No, I did think it odd. I thought it odd, definitely. But my mind did not go in that direction. Gosh.
Well, it's a book that makes you really think about all the possible scenarios between all these characters. It's just so compelling to be in the middle of it, to be the leader.
But when I said Veronica, kind of odd, I thought this was just his oddness. Here she's got this boyfriend, got him home, and then kind of ignores him. You know? I mean, it's so rude. So rude.
And then the brother, she asked the brother, will he do? What does that mean?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I thought will he do, meaning is he worthy as a boyfriend of mine? I thought that. Jenny, oh my God. Now you've opened up such possibilities.
Absolutely.
Wow.
No, but that's exactly what do you think, Ginny?
Against the mother?
Hostility, or does she want the brother to say he's fine for you? Or how do you interpret that? Like I would ask my sister, what did you think of him? You know, isn't that normal?
Yes. And
but what will he do? Will he?
That's what I thought.
Will he do?
What did you imply? What did you think, Ginny? I didn't get you.
Ginny is implying. I mean, probably your discussion with your book club brought this point up. Will he do as a candidate for mom?
Yeah, future candidate.
For mom.
Oh,
because she never.
I didn't realize that.
But he never goes back to visit the family. They continue their relationship, but he's never invited back again as a bit.
I think he and Veronica kind of end.
They sort of
do not continue. Oh my gosh, becoming
you don't know how much is redacted, whether he sees her and blocks it. I don't know. Okay, now can I go to another question, or people have other comments?
Yes.
Okay, now this may be more to the finance people here and also to Mo's husband, the integers that at the end of the book, right, the little scrap of paper that he gets about, A1 plus A2 plus Sarah plus V equals baby. So integers are basically numbers. Here he uses letters. And there are two possibilities, right? I don't know if in the book you all have come across it. S stands for Sarah, V for Veronica, A1 for Andrew, A2 for Anthony. Sanjay, did you notice what that means? Could you expand on that? Because the question mark is, whose baby is it? Even Adrian doesn't know. And he uses all these equations and integers. Can't hear you.
You're on mute.
Unmute, please. Unmute.
Sorry. No, my interpretation is that this is the final outcome of all the interactions between the variables. The A1, A2, S, and V together are responsible for
the baby.
Yeah, this is my interpretation, but
yeah.
there could be.
But it's not definite, right? if it were Adrian is also not sure whose baby it is. That's why he includes Tony, A1, A2, Sarah, Veronica equals baby.
No, but going back to that question that was asked earlier, I think Sunita raised that point, that why would he commit suicide if he didn't feel guilty about the child? That question remains unanswered.
Yes.
Because he doesn't know, and you see that in the equation, baby question mark. If you read the equation that is sent by
He's
Adrian,
not sure,
question
isn't it?
mark.
That why would he commit suicide? Committing suicide is a very, very terrible and serious and deliberate thing. It doesn't.
And honorable in Adrian's thinks he thinks you didn't ask for your life, so you have every right to take it. So his philosophy is at another level. For Adrian, for me, it would take great courage to commit suicide, but for those who have this philosophical belief that it's my right, I didn't ask to be born,
No, okay.
So yeah.
It's his right. But why would he decide that he'd rather not live anymore? Why?
Right.
Only if he's very guilty. If he feels he's done something off, if he's done something.
He's not sure about the baby. He thinks it could be his, and the baby is deformed. He feels terrible about it. That's how
I probably have a lot of eye trouble and I tend to skim. So maybe I didn't get that detail. I mean, what's the timeline, folks? Can you tell me? I mean, Tony's interaction, let's call it, with Veronica comes to an end. After some time, he discovers, when corresponding with the gang, that Adrian is now dating Veronica. And he says something, I forget now what, if you can remind me, implying, I think, seriousness of the interaction with Veronica.
Well, he says you'll get fed up of her very soon. She'll get pregnant, and she's just a damaged person, like he runs down Veronica. Sonali has joined. Love to hear her opinion about it. Has Sonali joined? I just saw her.
Where?
I don't know. Briefly saw a picture, but she may have left. I don't know.
Anna, but you haven't said a word yet.
Who?
Anna.
Anna. Okay.
Anyway. Anybody else? Mona.
Oh, okay. Sorry, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to get everyone, to pitch in.
Of course.
Kavita, Sadia, Radia.
Sadia, any thoughts?
Vasu.
Monali is here as well, right?
Yeah,
Satish. Well, Satish has not read the book, but
I haven't read the book. Agreed. I haven't read the book. Really, let me say this. That let me think about it. I had something to say. I forgot. I was about writing it down, and then I saw something else.
Okay, we'll come back to you.
Yeah.
By the way, please change your name, rename. Huh?
Oh.
Yes,
Sadia's hand is up. Sadia?
Yes, I didn't at all get the feeling that it was Tony's child, that it was Adrian's. But on his first visit, deliberately, the father is making fun of this, ridiculing this boy by pointing out on the way all these buildings and all that which don't exist. And then after he meets them, and when they are alone, Tony and Sarah says to him, don't let Veronica sort of, maybe do the same to you as she's done possibly with others, that tease you. So she's already said that to him, and that she's a teaser, Veronica. And that's the way she operates. She also, I think, tries to come off as being more intellectual than she actually is. she's a good dancer, ballet dancer, but she'll pretend that she doesn't dance.
Who, the
There's a
mother?
lot of Veronica.
Oh, okay, all right, okay,
There's a lot of her, lot in her in which she's trying to pretend and be other things, and she's a teaser. And because of that attitude, I don't know whether when Tony introduced her to his friends, and then Veronica, of course, gravitated towards Adrian, because right then and there, you felt that uh, she wanted to be standing next to him in the picture. She wanted to look up at him, yeah, and things like that. So she had begun her flirtation right there with Adrian. And although she carried on this teasing thing with Tony, never going, because it's not the East, it's the West. Do you expect it to go the whole way? She didn't. And when she finally did, Tony sort of, in a way, he saw her for what she was, a pretender and a bore. And he was so cut up about it, he wanted to be the one to drop her, rather than he felt that she had left him. So when he finally, it was a very decent thing of Adrian to do. Now we don't know Adrian's background, what as a class, what sort of a class he came from. All we know about him is that his mother had left him. Do we think that he had like a reverse Oedipal complex when Veronica takes him to meet the family, like she seems to do with all her boyfriends at a very early stage in their relationship? So, the lack of mother for Adrian, and then again Veronica being so nasty to him, maybe nasty nice, that kind of spectrum that she floats in between. So, and then having this woman there to put his head on her shoulder and cuddle with, sort of a thing, led to things. And also the fact that Tony had told Adrian, find out from the mother what happened to Veronica, which makes her so damaged. Because they seem to think that she is damaged. Why should she be pretending to be something else? And then I think sometimes in a moment of just cuddling, it can go on further, and then you can have sex. Adrian and Sarah may not have meant it, but maybe in that moment it went, it did. It
Oh,
did.
I didn't
And
actually recall this head on shoulder and cuddling business. Yeah, it's there, right? Is it?
mhm. So I think it happened, and it happened, and very often in this English society, everybody was philandering, you know.
Sex happens very casual, easily.
Yes, casually. So they didn't think much of it. Sarah may not have thought much of it. Adrian might not have thought much of it till it came to the baby. And the fact that Sarah decided to have the baby, and then the confrontation, probably we don't know what happened between Veronica and Adrian at that point. And maybe the diary was revealing all those things, which Veronica did not want in under any circumstances for Adrian to have, for Tony to have. Adrian, on the other hand, had written it all down. He had entrusted it with Sarah because only Sarah and he knew what had happened. And Veronica maybe came off very badly in that diary. and he did. He just she just didn't want. She stole the diary, and then whether she burnt it or whatever she did not want Tony to get his hands on it.
So she very definitely withheld it from
Hmm.
Tony.
Hmm.
Yes.
So what indeed, that of course, I'm sure everyone wondered, what did it have? What was it
Yeah,
going to
what?
fail that
I-
Tony
Yeah,
must not get done? What is it?
yeah.
What was it that Tony must, under any circumstances, get that diary? And she wanted him to, I don't know why, but she wanted him to feel a certain sense of guilt. She wanted him to try to figure it out, all of it by himself. And then she had this pretentiousness in which she thought, oh, I'm superior to you. You should get this, without any access to anything else. So you don't get it. You don't get it. You don't get it. It was all the
I
time
mean,
that.
she's not a nice person, so we are not surprised, but yeah. So Tony is surprised that she replied at all, remember?
Yes.
He didn't even expect her to reply, but she does. And then she meets him. I mean, it is so surprising. Tony is very surprised by her behavior. He wouldn't have been surprised if she had never contacted him.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Hmm.
but then she does, which surprises him. And she agrees to meet, which again surprises him.
Hmm.
It's going in a direction that we never expected.
Sonali is there?
And if I may have a couple of words more, all the while, she is trying to blame Tony entirely for what happens.
Well, shall we entirely? I don't know. But she's definitely trying to drag him into the guilt scenario.
Yes, the
Definitely.
guilt.
Never let him get away with no part of the guilt.
Yes. And the use of the words blood money, all those things were also involving Tony's directive to Adrian to go and meet Sarah and find out why Victoria behaves the way she does.
Veronica, yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, Veronica, sorry, behaves the way she does. So I think, I mean, she had already, by that point, she might have, Veronica might have already taken Adrian to Chislehurst. But the fact that Adrian might have, again, been left with Veronica, with Sarah, but to go deep into it. And Sarah, as she had commiserated with Tony earlier, might have commiserated with Adrian at Veronica's behavior. And that one thing led to another. Just my point. But Veronica was trying to say that why did you have to tell Adrian to go and see my mother and find out more about me, and my behavior? Couple of things. That was what.
Yeah.
Yes, I think everyone agrees with you, I should imagine. Okay, Azra, any more surprises, any more questions which will astonish us?
No, I think those were the ones. The integers, I was interested about what the mathematicians thought about it because it ends with a question mark. So Adrian is not sure about whose baby it is. That's what I inferred. I don't know what Sanjay thought about it.
Sanjay is a banker, I think.
Exactly. He's got
Yeah.
finance background, and so does Satish. What does Satish say from IIT?
He hasn't read the book,
Oh, okay, sorry. All right.
at all. And he hasn't touched it. He's not aware the book is in the house.
I forgot. Okay. Yeah.
No, see, another aspect I think we haven't touched upon is that the question that was left in my mind, Mohini, is Azra, that is it necessary for us to live our lives by tailoring our memories to suit our requirements? I mean, how do I reconcile myself to my own intrinsic mediocrity and ordinariness unless I construct a narrative,
Yes.
which say, oh, bad luck, this happened, he did that, she did that. How do I mean, the only way I can live my life as a normal human being is by modifying my memories, by pretending that, yeah, no, you're not all that ordinary. You're also talented. You also have some skills. You're also worth something. I
It looks
think
like he is a
is
ambitious.
that a human need? Is that a human need? Do we need to do that? Because most of us are average people. We're not extraordinary. You know?
I think many of us were content. Kavita, you're saying something. Kavita. Oh, I thought you. Kavita, are you saying something? Maybe not. Okay. So I was saying, well, I'm quite content with my ordinariness. For
Yeah.
example,
Yeah.
I'm aware of it, I'm quite content. I mean, I can't be a superhero. I can't be
Mhm.
Marilyn Monroe. No. But maybe some people find it hard, and they might sort of construct, an image of themselves by cutting out certain parts of their actions. Oh my gosh, there are so many maybes. Oh gosh, nothing
I
seems.
think more you have hit the nail on the head. Uh, People either try to hide themselves out from what their yesteryears were and dream about having something better to do. This is, I mean, I was trying to write something there about a person who's quietening down, etc., and the other person who's making up what he could have been if I would take it further up. I think it's a common practice. I think it's a beautiful thing that a human being can be in whatever direction he would like to be in himself. It's not that he needs. Otherwise, he'll be sitting down and like me, just sitting there, ha ha ha, theek hai. But a human being has always, I feel that I should be doing this, or I have done this and I have played this. I should have done this, but it would have made a big difference. So, a human being, I, to be a human being is something wonderful because you can put yourself into a cabin here and talk about this, and you can put yourself in the box there and have a different talk. I think it is a fabulous thing that we have our own thinking, and that I think is the must there. Sorry, all of it's a philosophical thing, but I've been listening to you guys. Uh, Again, I'm not quite sure what was coming through in the Azra's story, what Azra had told us uh, about parentage and thing. It's the same. It didn't quite make sense to me that this was could be there. That you
I think
wash
everything
away this
about
part of yours completely. Good.
everything about Veronica, a little dicey, isn't it? I mean, herself, her behavior. I mean,
Azra,
she's
why would
dating
someone
this
want
guy
to
and she's not
hide her?
showing any fondness. I mean,
Azra, I think
Yes.
people would like to hide themselves more
Yes.
than make something big. So the concept that I always say that yes, it's up to you. Where do you want to be? Let's leave it to the person rather than saying ये क्यों नहीं किया वो क्यों करना चाहिए था ऐसे हो रहा है. I would rather say he did it and she did it, and up to her what she's doing. It's interesting to hear what she has to say or he has to do or say. Okay, guys. Sorry
okay,
for.
Anna. Anna has raised. Yes, Anna. Please. Anna.
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. So I just wanted to add that today some Wopa Festival of Theatre has opened in Yerwara.
Oh,
And strangely enough, the play that is for the opening performance today is called The Autobiography. I think it's
oh, Lilith.
translated. Yes,
Oh,
yes.
that's.
So it says, At its heart, the play explores memory's instability and the impossibility of a single definitive truth. Everyone fashions the truth in their own way.
Yes.
We remember things in a way that feels comfortable to us. The same incident can be seen very differently by two people, and both perspectives can be completely valid. There is no absolute truth. I just thought I'd share that.
That's a wonderful thing you
Absolutely.
said. That's
And this
wonderful
is-
thing you have said. Because what you have thought today, or what thinking about what is going on today, looking at the book and talking about it, each individual has a world of his own, and he takes it further. Or he or she takes it further. That's how I look at it also. Go ahead.
What
Hey, Moini
Sanjay
lost.
said,
I lost Moini somewhere.
sorry, I think what Sanjay said really resonated with me. I think the underlying message that this book is giving is basically this issue of how we construct a narrative of ourselves through our memories. Yeah. And we selectively perceive the life that we have led. I really saw, and I think what Anna mentioned later on, I mean, it just sort of reinforces that underlying theme that this book seems to be exploring.
Absolutely. This is, by the way, a tenet of modernism. I mean, Ezra Pound, when the movement of modernism started, which is kind of turn of the century, that's 1900 onwards. Ezra Pound was kind of the leader. And it was a very deliberate, conscious, purposeful movement. Not like something which just happens to happen. But people around Europe, writers, artists, painters, decided that the world is now different. And different.
World is what?
Different. See, this is post-Darwin. Darwin showed that the Bible was not, like the gospel truth. Well, the Bible, which is like gospel, is not truth. The laws of physics and energy, the system, energy is indestructible. So do you really need someone to keep the world moving? A God? No, you don't. Then the geologists and whatnot found that the earth was much, much, much older than what the Bible implied. Okay? And so on and so forth. Now, this kind of made the framework which held all Europe together through religion, a common belief, that just bust up. It went. People were left adrift, not knowing what to do. Some became atheist. Some clung, even though they saw the irrationality of it, but they clung on. So the world had changed, okay? And people like Joseph Conrad, T.H. Lawrence, James Joyce, these are the people at the helm at the beginning. Ezra Pound said, make it new. Make it new. Whatever you do, and you will see across the gamut of the arts, things changed. Kandinsky, modern art, right? Non-representational. Now Picasso, okay? There's a very famous painting which I always show my kids in class and show them that the woman has two noses and one eye. And we all laugh about it. And then we talk about it. Hey, this is Cubism. So what is Cubism? Cubism is looking at an object from every angle and putting it on one canvas. So of course it looks weird.
More.
Then, just one second, the concept of the absolute is now gone. No such thing. Absolute truth. What's the truth? You can't say that Wickham was not a good character. Darcy would. Elizabeth marries Darcy. Oh, good, she did the right thing. They will live happily ever after.
Okay,
the narrator, see the third person omniscient narrator who knows everything. Who knows what Elizabeth is thinking? Who knows what Wickham is thinking? Who knows what Fitzwilliam is thinking? No more.
Sunita,
What?
we saying Chetan used to enjoy Mohini and I arguing with each other, and here I'm going to start arguing again. So you keep in mind that I'll also have a little bit of a say. I had said something similar, that literature is going to be doing very well in this, because this era that we are talking about, every era that has come, what little I know and what I feel, because of the problems that we had worldwide after the First World War, also the big crash, etc., and then the Second World War, the quality of literature, according to me, was one of the best that I could sing. I enjoyed everything that came from the from the late 30s onward. That other war also was there. From there onwards, a lot of it came through. And I'll say this: in today's times, what is happening around, I can feel that what we thought, my generation, you guys are younger, what we thought is no longer valid. You see, there's a change, and I love the change that is coming through. See,
Now, of
hear it all.
course, but now,
Hear it, and literature that will come out from here will be very, very different. Hope I'm around to hear that. That's what I like.
anyway.
Something newness will come about there.
Okay. Then, no absolute, right? No such thing as fact and untruth, right? Like T.S. Eliot had a degree in philosophy, and he studied a philosopher called F.H. Bradley, who gives the example, that famous example of three people who walk into a field and are asked to describe the field. The guy who can see describes it. The guy who's looking the other direction describes what he sees there. Blind man doesn't know what to say, right? It's not that they're lying. They're all telling the truth from their limited perspective. Now, from the beginning of modernism, one of the most typical things has become the destabilizing of the narrator. A guy who we believed, who we trusted, which is why I thought it was very unfair that Roger Ackroyd, Richard Mann, does not let us know what he has done. He chooses to. How can he? Heck, we are used to getting the whole truth. No, but that's not the case. Acha. Last thing is, Harold Pinter is a playwright who, in his cast of characters, merely gives names. He doesn't say what that person is. He doesn't say whether they're brothers, father and son, or what. And frankly, till the end of the play, you don't know. And even at the end of the play, you don't know. And when he's asked, he says, why? Do we always know everything about the people we interact with? We manage. My audience can also manage.
Mobs, I think Azra wanted to close up.
Yes, come on. Back to Azra, of course.
No, I'm very happy listening to you, Mo. Please go on.
No, I don't want to go on because, it's got to be in a nutshell, right?
Yes, so please, go ahead.
In a nutshell. So, of course, this modern concern with degree of truth. Now, it's a degree of truth. Not truth, but degree. Very interesting. Azra, you saw how shocked I was by a couple of your.
But Mo, okay, Mo, but we'll argue later with a glass of whiskey in our hand. Need that whiskey now.
Come on, other folks, would you like anything to say? Otherwise, we'll begin winding up. So, Azra, would you like to, say something more?
Well, in a nutshell, what stayed with me was the simple fact that we all redact our lives, the story of our lives, and it depends on what works for us. Some of us don't. Some of us reflect. Like I feel very much with you that I'm quite happy with who I am. Many of us are ordinary, but to aggrandize oneself with redacted life stories, others do it. So that was what sank with me about perceptions of life, how you can change it, how an individual. That basically stuck with me.
And I think it is great fun for it to change and think about this could have been here or why not that there. Not just Moini and I argue about keeping furniture here and furniture there. The thought process of this concept of so and so is better. Why we should be getting it done? Okay, Mohini, where's Mohan? Mo will of course will have a better language on that.
No, I think that's kind of somewhat irrelevant. Just
Okay, go ahead.
okay.
That
Now,
will
Monali, I want you to say something. Come
Yes.
Monali, come on.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. Go ahead.
So, yeah, grown up, I have not read the book. That's why I've been so silent. But from your discussions, I could see that there are a couple of things that we control other people and situations with. One is memory, which everybody has been talking about, our own memory. We control our own lives with that simply because it is a way of justifying our actions, our thoughts, whatever we have done in the past. We do not
Yes.
want to think of us as diminutive people. So that's one. Secondly is our perception, and it is again about us. So we think of us as very nice, positive human beings. We may have grace. That's the way we justify our actions and thoughts. And we also control other people's lives with the help of our perceptions and memories. And it is not just enough to have our perceptions and memories, but also how well we are able to persuade the others that this is what happened and this is right. So although we may have a certain kind of an opinion, it is very important to control others' lives, to be able to control others' lives with persuasive skills of sort of imposing our own perceptions or memories on other people's thoughts. And that if we can dominate the others with this kind of a perception, then it is very easy to control others and win the situation to our point of view all the time. And this is what I could see in the characters of this novel, because that's what Tony does, that's what Victoria does, that's what
people are sending some flyers around here.
Oh no, there's a question that's floated up. Why has he used the title that he has used?
Yeah, so that's the
Azra.
sense of ending. Everyone wants to seal the deal there and say that, okay, this is the final verdict. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
I see. That's how you say it. Okay. Well, I have my opinion. Azra, I want to hear you first. And Sunita and Sanjay.
I went over that. The term sense has different meanings in the sense of what does it mean, an ending? What does it mean? The feeling in life's conclusion. And basically, what do you understand by this ending of this, of your life or of the circumstances? So that ending, the term sense refers to different interpretations. Finding the meaning, finding the understanding, the feeling. That's what I got from the book.
I see, okay.
Let's hear you.
Shall I, well, there's a very famous book with the same title by Frank Kermode. And students of literature would know. Frank Kermode's a very respected critic. And he wrote this book about the sense of an ending. Like, what Aristotle says about any story, that it must have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Now, you tell a child this, and they'll say, obviously, but what does that really mean? That there should be a point at which this particular story starts. It has a climax, the most meaningful moment, and then it concludes.
Mo,
It's
I just would like to talk to say the Payal.
May I just finish? I just need a sentence or two more. Now, Julian Barnes has taken this title. Azra said that he claims that he didn't know about the book. Well, I mean, why should he? As I said, it's only academics really who would know. But I've been so conscious of this book, the seminal book. And the key word is ending, resolution, conclusion. Is there ever a true sense of ending? Is there? Does anything end? The book, The Sense of an Ending by Frank Kermode is a compendium, let us say, of 6 lectures delivered at a university seminar on this. And if he was unaware, then of course we have nothing to say. If he was aware, I thought it was so clever of him to have used this title, because promptly you know how the story is going to be. There are going to be questions, there are going to be ifs. You're going to wonder. And that's what you do, don't you? Okay, other folks, come on. And what did your book club say, Azra?
Virginia, maybe you can expand on that.
Yeah, come on, Jenny, you tell us. What did your book club say about the title?
In our discussion, we just assumed for a long time during our discussion that Adrian was the father of the baby. And then one of our members, Carolyn, came out with this idea that it was Tony's child. And it just took us all by surprise. We were just astonished because none of us had thought of this. And then the more she discussed it, some of us really came around to her idea and bought into it and then we saw the book in a whole other way and it made sense.
I can imagine.
Other people just stuck to the idea that Adrian was the father, and they were absolutely convinced that he was. And I think that it's just fascinating that people can have different opinions about it.
And which are valid.
Or totally valid, both.
Right? The reading of the book is possible that way. That's it.
So that was very exciting. It was one of the best meetings we've ever had. We were all shaken up and
I bet. And what about the title, Ginny? What about the title?
We didn't discuss that really then, but we've been talking about it since.
Okay. Anyone has anything to add?
This is a wonderful discussion you've had here. Very, very, very
Very,
good.
very,
I think
very interesting.
I think
Thank you
lovely.
so much.
When I started reading the book, I saw this is a very discussion-worthy book.
Yes, indeed, yes.
And do we have a sense of an ending? No, we don't.
If I can get a minute, I think ending refers to the death of Adrian. Okay, and sense is the meaning. It makes sense in that sense. So that's where the title comes from. That by the end of the story, you're supposed to understand. You're supposed to get the meaning of that ending. Why Adrian killed himself. That's my interpretation.
Sanjay is saying that there is resolution, but you think Tony is gonna stop at that? I mean,
I don't know. I can't say.
Exactly.
No.
Okay. Anybody else? We should wind up otherwise.
Thank you very much, Mohini.
Thank you, Azra.
Thank you, Virginia.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
I
We had a
want to
very
thank
lively
you
discussion. Thanks, Azra.
because he's new, okay, to the book club, and so quickly she wanted to make a presentation. I love people like that.
Well, and I love to hear people like all of you with all your interpretations. I learn a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I loved this. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Now, one sec before saying bye. I have a confession I'm not proud of making. I have not been able to get my act together about the Arundhati Roy book. Yet I can't read. I don't know if you notice I changed my glasses twice, but it doesn't help. Anyway, Sunita has agreed to help out with, she's going to join me on that. but then it's not going to be next Sunday, I'm afraid. It'll be a little later. Maybe
Well,
next
I'll write it down.
haven't
Okay.
decided.
All right. Okay. All right. Because I'd like to be present then.
Oh, you'll get the calendar. We always
Okay.
intimate. Don't worry. It'll never just happen. Oh, it'll be announced.
So who's going to talk next Sunday?
Next Sunday, we just may have 2 authors joining us. But they haven't quite confirmed. So let's see.
That would be
You will get
lovely.
the calendar will tell you in a day or 2. Okay. Now these are books which, of course, you will not have read. None of us will have read them, but they sound like good books. So hey, shall we come and hear them out, the 2 authors, and find out what their books are? I always think talking to authors is very special. Okay.
Yes.
And that's it, right? Thank you, everybody, for participating. Okay? Thank you so much, everyone. Sunita, thank you so much. I'm sorry, I just was not able to enter. I just couldn't.
I always feel so bad when you say that. This technology is supposed to be easy. It's supposed to make our lives easy.
Oh, well.
Not to
Thank you all.
All right. Thank you,
Bye.
Azra. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.